Hey from the Literary Apothecary, and welcome back to another episode of Bibliotherapy Sunday. So, last week we talked about books to get your male partner to reading fiction, and this week we're going to be talking about the 10 best books to turn your female partner to reading fiction. Now, some things to keep in mind here. These are only suggestions, and they come from one of my favorite books, The Novel Cure, which gives you a whole bunch of book suggestions and recommendations for different ailments and different situations in life. A lot of these are what are called classics and older books, and maybe some more newer contemporary books will work better. And so at the end of this video, I'll be talking about some tips to find maybe some more contemporary books that will work better if these don't work. So on with our books, the 10 best novels to turn your female partner onto fiction. First up, we have Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood is a fantastic writer for female fiction. So you may recognize Margaret Atwood's name from The Handmaid's Tale or her sequel, The Testaments. She also wrote a great book called Oryx and Crake, which is a little bit different than The Handmaid's Tale, but still really great. The Novel Cure recommends Alias Grace, and this is actually not one of my favorite Margaret Atwood books, but it was still really good. So just in general, I recommend Margaret Atwood, but Novel Cure recommends Alias Grace. Along the same lines, the next author up is one of my absolute favorites, Jane Austen, and they recommend Persuasion. I recommend, Persuasion is one of those books that half the people say is one of her most popular books, and half the people say not a lot of people have read Persuasion. My favorite book is by Jane Austen is Pride and Prejudice, and so I usually recommend that one. I think that's like her peak right. But the Novel Cure recommends Persuasion, and it's also a really, really fantastic book. I'm currently actually doing a Jane Austen read-along with some of my friends on Discord. We're doing one Jane Austen book a month. This month was Pride and Prejudice. Last month was Sense and Sensibility, and I am hoping to watch the movie versions along with it, or at least some of them. And so Persuasion is a great book for getting into fiction. Jane Austen in general is great for getting into general fiction, or as they sometimes call it now, women's fiction, which just drives me nuts. Just call it fiction, or contemporary fiction, or classics, literary fiction. Why does it have to be women's fiction? Can not men enjoy it? Anyways, my mini rant is over. The next book up that we have is A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, and this is a book I haven't read yet, but it's been on my list for so long. I am hoping to get to this later this year. It sounds like such an amazing book, such a fun book, and I can't wait. Next up is another classic, A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. This book I have read, and I have truly, truly enjoyed it. You might also recognize this author's name from A Passage to India, which was also a fantastic book, and another one of our bibliotherapy books. I will link my review for that book here. And also Alias Grace, I think I have a review for that too. But this is a great book for getting women into reading fiction. To the End of the Lane by David Grossman, and your next book up is a book that I am hoping to buddy read later this year. That's 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. I've heard such amazing things about this book. The story is fantastic, the characters are wonderful, and this is one of those books where if you're looking to get authors from different cultures in, this is a great one to fit in, because Khalil Hosseini, I believe, is Muslim, And so if you're looking to get more diverse reading into your reading, this is a great one to start there. Next up, we have The Hotel New Hampshire by John Irving. And this is like a theme, I guess, with these books. You might know this author, John Irving, if you've read The World According to Garp, which I absolutely love that book so much. It's so fantastic. It's such a fun book. But I haven't read The Hotel New Hampshire yet, but it's definitely on my list, and I can't wait to get to that also. Next up is The Piano Turner by Daniel Mason. This was a debut novel written by a med student, and it's according to Amazon, the extraordinary adventure and delicate love story of a British piano tuner sent deep into the 19th century Burma to repair a rare errand. And I can't wait to read this now. I didn't know what this book was. Just reading that was only the first chapter, or the first paragraph of the description, and it already sounds amazing, so I can't wait. Next up, we have White Teeth by Sadie Smith, and this is one of those books that I think a lot of people read to get more kind of African American Black culture into their reading. This was another debut novel, and this was a huge success. Big seller. People were comparing her to Charles Dickens, Salman Rushdie, John Irving, and Martin Amis, which are 4 huge names in the literary world. And they said this was just an absolutely beautiful book. I know my friend Abby read this when she was in school, and it's one of those forced readings that a lot of kids won't particularly like if they're forced to read, but you might appreciate it more coming back to it as an adult. And I can't wait to read this. Abby sent this to me, I think it was for Christmas or my birthday, and I can't wait. And then our last book up is Beautiful Ruins by Jess Walters, and I know that name very well because he went to the same MFA program that I went to. He was there at a different time, but we both went to, shout out to the University of Idaho MFA program, and my advisor, Kim Barnes, talked about this author non-stop so much, and all I've heard about was Jess Walter. And this was a fantastic best-selling book. They called this his funniest, most romantic, and most purely enjoyable novel yet. It's the story of an almost love affair that begins on the Italian coast in 1962 and is rekindled in Hollywood 50 years later. And I can't wait to read this book and hear what everything is about. So many people in my MFA program have talked about this book. It's been all over the bestsellers lists and book clubs lists, and I just can't wait to get to it. So those are the top 10 best novels to get your female partner into fiction, according to the Novel Cure. Now, some things to keep in mind. Like I said, these are only suggestions, and some of them might work and some of them might not work. Some other things that I suggest, tips that I suggest, is thinking about what they typically like. Do they like history? Do they like adventure? Do they like romance? Do they like different cultures? What kind of cultures do they like? You can find books that will fit any of their interests, really. The great thing about fiction is it spans so much. There are so many different things. Does she like sports? There's romance books that deal with sports too. There's so much that can be put into fiction. All you have to do is find what your partner likes, different interests that interest her, and match up books to that. If you need help, send me a message on Discord in the comments, in Twitter, Instagram, and I'll help you find a book that will fit your partner. Same with male partners. If you need help finding books that will fit your male partners, send me a message, hit me up, and I will help you out. Because I love, my greatest passion in life is matching people with books. And that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So hit me up if you want help. So that's it for now. Thank you for tuning in. I will link in the description below our video from last week on the 10 best books for your male partner. Like I said, come to our Discord and talk to us about all of this. As always, my Patreon and Discord information will be in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.